One witness described your penis as oval-shaped.
Complete smoke and mirrors. It's all made up. It's just election fodder. It's white versus black because it's an election year.
I think
with what just happened with Epstein, you can't get away with this stuff anymore.
Well, what happened with Epstein, this is what I like about it.
Yeah.
It was so blatant and so outrageous that people go, hey, maybe they did fucking kill Kevin.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
They absolutely did.
Maybe
and I was just doing shows in Fort Worth, and I was looking at these audiences, and I was going, they'd kill him again.
Yeah.
They'll kill him again. Give these people a couple of shots of tequila, another shot goes right through Kennedy's head.
Well, if there was another one like Kennedy, like
right.
Let's think, if someone took over after Trump and this guy was trying to get rid of the NSA and get rid of the CIA, and then there was some sort of
mafia, industrialists,
and the mafia fucking got him into office in the first place.
100%.
So they were like, hey, you fucking.
I mean, when we are talking about Jeff Epstein, I think the best place to start with is talking about Jeff Epstein's death, which is the most mysterious part of it all. You have a man on suicide watch. And I think suicide watch. I think they are not even allowed to have shoes with laces on.
Yes.
Everything is supposed to be something they can't kill themselves with. And then a few hours later, you come out and say that, the man is dead.
There's two things. If I want to tickle my conspiracy theorist side, he might not be dead to begin with.
I think he's off in an island somewhere because
Yes.
I think when it comes to the documentary, they said that 2 days before his death, he had apparently put all his wealth in a trust fund. I think
Yes.
Did they mention the Cayman Islands or somewhere? And then he said he did it in such a way that the victims can't even sue to get compensation.
Yes, to get compensation. Yes. So I think he was very. Jeffrey Epstein is very smart.
I think
he is a very brilliant person. So it's not far-fetched to think that he planned it well.
So then comes the case that what does he have on people if he's truly alive? Which means he has something on people. That's what he had to plot his escape.
Yes, if he's alive, he definitely has a lot of people. There's no two ways about it, because a lot of these big powerful people have very, very dark sides, and sadly most of them are very perverted. So you need a very rich friend who can kind of link you up to all of these girls and do all of these things that they were doing. And Epstein was that person. Epstein was someone who was also rich, also very brilliant, and was very into all of these, child pornography and all of these things. So I think he has a lot of evidence.
He has a lot of evidence
on so many people.
And then we are looking at, I think when it comes to the evidence on so many people, it's alleged that he has evidence on Bill Gates, because apparently Bill Gates said that he has visited him only once. But then the books and the flight plans and the pilot show that Bill Gates had been to his home in Paris, to his home in Spain, to the island on a morning.
Wait, Bill Gates or Bill Clinton?
Bill Gates.
Yeah, because the one I saw was on Bill Clinton.
Yeah, or I think I sometimes watch Alex Jones.
Yeah,
and then he's been covering Jeff Epstein's
whole scandal.
The funny thing about Alex Jones is he never stops trying to, I think, bully or bring to light whatever Bill Gates is doing. I think here's the video. the title says Bill
They're
Gates.
putting in permanent medical martial law with a psychotic person that ran Jeffrey Epstein's operation. That's what Bill Gates did. He ran Jeffrey Epstein's operation to compromise scientists across the board with blackmail for sex with underage women and children and snuff films, so they could scientifically take over and have a fake scientific consensus ahead of pushing giant frauds like this. This isn't going to be business as usual with the leftist and the globalist, and they're pushing their agenda, but we kind of push them back. They're going to get total power and control, and we're going to defeat them and reverse them. They've launched their main attack. They've launched their main assault. The New World Order's here, and they're going to bring back the mask. They're going to bring back the lockdowns forever. It's in the Davos Group's own report that came out 2 days ago, calling it the Great Reset. It's over.
So then you heard what he said at the beginning of the video, talking about
that Bill Gates ran the whole thing.
Bill Gates apparently running Jeff Epstein's operation and all that, saying that he was using it in order to blackmail scientists to carry out his world order. And I think there's even a major publication about Bill Gates visiting Epstein's palace more than once.
You still need a bit more evidence.
When it comes to powerful people, and then first of all, I don't understand why powerful people even engage in child trafficking.
Sorry?
I said, first of all, I don't even understand why powerful people engage in child trafficking.
Because they can.
Because, I think this is the article by the New York Times. Bill Gates times, despite his past. The convicted sex offender who committed, it says, few though compared in prestige and power to the world's second richest person. A brilliant and intensely. I'm trying to find where it says. Okay, it says in 2011, Mr. Gates met with Mr. Epstein on numerous occasions, 3 times at Mr. Epstein's palatial Manhattan townhouse, and at least once staying late into the night, according to interviews with more than a dozen people familiar with the relationship, as well as documents reviewed by the New York Times. And so I think when you're watching Alex Jones video, you have Alex Jones saying that what was he doing in the house, staying late into the night, and yet what the hell went on in the house?
All of these things, we need more evidence, because
I mean, it's all one big. But then again, I think where we had the issue of Epstein during the blackout Tuesday, when supposedly Hillary Clinton was summoned to court.
Sorry?
I said when we had the blackout Tuesday, and Hillary Clinton was supposedly summoned to court on the same day. How weird do you think? How weird do you think that happened? Up to now, nobody knows who organized the blackout Tuesday. Black Lives Matter, and nobody knows who organized blackout Tuesday.
I can't see. It might be true that there was something else, with Hillary, and that's why they made it Blackout Tuesday. But
where the rubber hits the road with conspiracy theories right now. That's where people that are like, wait, what the fuck is going on? What? All the cameras were bad. Oh, the guy was on suicide watch. He tried to commit suicide, and then they're like, well, don't do that again. And then he did it. Like, if you talk to people that have been locked up, they take away everything. You've been on suicide watch, they fucking take away everything. Find this guy. Can we see video footage? Oh, sorry, the cameras are broken.
I think hanging yourself.
It's not easy when you're in jail. And
is that what suicide watch means?
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you.
They watch you so you can't kill yourself.
Do they watch you every 30 minutes or something?
What the fuck was the psychologist thinking that took this guy off suicide watch literally a couple of weeks after he tried to commit suicide? If someone tried to commit suicide, not speaking as we're fucking thinking about it for years. Some of them, they go back and forth dating.
Some of them just do.
Yes, some of them just do. But what someone does, right, they're not going to just while they're in fucking prison for sex with kids.
It seems that Jeffrey Epstein's life was going to get really worse than what it was.
Could be. Get really worse. Jeffrey Epstein's now in jail, and they're digging deep into his past. And I flew with him 26 times. 26 times. It ain't a lot of times to fly with a guy. I don't understand what the big deal is. We flew in a jet. We rode a bus together. He was on the back of my bike.
Do you know people that know Jeffrey Epstein?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Me too. And a lot of them, it really was that.
Yeah.
Talk to him.
Well,
hung out a little bit.
There's many people that feel like he was an agent and that he was trying to compromise people. And that's one of the things about this whole Lolita Island thing is that they would compromise people. They would compromise people by having a bunch of young girls who were very sexy, who were hired to go and flirt and maybe even have sex with people, and that these people were young. These girls were like 17, underage, perhaps underage some places, perhaps not underage. It's incredibly embarrassing, and for the people.
An agent
compromise
for whom?
Who knows? I mean, there's a lot of thoughts, but that's one of the things about when he got arrested. Was it the prosecutor or whoever it was that cut him the deal? Literally was quoted as saying, "I was told he's above my pay grade, and that he was intelligent." That's the quote.
Really? Intelligence thing?
Try to find that quote. Yeah, try to find that quote. Yes. The guy said this was when he gave him a lenient sentence many years ago.
Well, there's
2012 or something.
No one seems to know how he
got his money. Well, the fucking $70 million house that he had in Manhattan was given to him.
Right.
Given to him.
Yeah.
Who the fuck gives someone a $70 million house?
Well, I was kind of hoping you would to me.
I don't have one.
Okay.
I have a bunch of them.
I gotta run.
You gotta go now.
I'm just joking. I was here to get a $70 million house. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think the guy. Look, I've talked to people many times that work for intelligence agencies, and there's a lot of weird shit that they do. And one of the things that they do to compromise people is they get them involved in weird stuff that could be very bad for them. It comes out, and then they have influence of this person. And if you got a guy with a voracious sexual appetite, I mean, there's a few of those fellas out there. And, hey, man,
you're very proud of that, aren't you?
I'm out of office now. I'm just fucking hanging out, having a good time with Jeffrey. We're just flying around. I mean, come on, man. It's highly. One of the guys that I know that knew him was also a freak, like a sexual freak. And I'm like, okay, I think I see a pattern here. It's very likely that that's what was going on. This guy was compromising people and probably absolutely a sex addict himself. And I believe all the women that say all the horrible things that he did to them and hired them for things and had underage girls do sexual things with him. Probably true. Probably true. He's probably a fucked up, twisted dude. But many people that are involved, even in good things, get compromised. Like there's many people that work for the CIA that were legitimate CIA operatives who wound up selling drugs. This a lot of this happens. People go sideways. People get involved in shady activity that are cops. There's cops that wind up doing illegal things. They signed on to be a cop, be a person who's going to serve and protect and be involved in the community, and slowly but surely they get compromised and they get involved in illegal activity, and the next thing you know, they're corrupt. It happens. It happens.
It does, certainly.
And then sometimes people fucking suicide themselves.
And the people that I know that knew him, it was they weren't even aware of the seedy stuff going on. So, and of course, that's going to be true too.
Well, he was
that would be 100%.
He was also a champion of science.
Yeah,
I mean,
big champion.
Yeah, and but that's the thing about people. They can be really good in some ways and horrible in other ways. This idea that people are binary or 1 or a 0, it's nonsense.
Yeah.
There's really good people that do terrible things. There's really terrible people that also do good things.
So I think you heard Joe Rogan's take on Jeffrey Epstein being an yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
You see how balanced he was about the whole thing. You see where they said that, in the documentary it says that the first case that he had, apparently they said, well, I think there was one where they were saying that apparently he and his named co-conspirators and unnamed co-conspirators were given immunity deal. And then you have Alexander Acosta, who was apparently, I think, the Attorney General for in Florida during that time, saying that he was told that he shouldn't touch him because apparently he's above his pay grade and he's intelligent. So then it comes to the case that which intelligence agency was apparently Jeffrey Epstein working on? Was he working with Russia? And Russia currently have incriminated evidence on the president of the United States, or was he working with the British, or was he working with the British who have one arm upon the royal family, or was he working with the FBI or the CIA? And it brings a whole lot. This is a whole lot of conspiracies that are floating around here. And frankly, when it comes to Jeffrey Epstein's case, I think you think it might be true. What do you think about it?
Epstein's entire life is a mystery. His entire life was. I think he enjoyed having this air of mystery around him. It's like, who is he? How did he get his money? What's he doing? Where's he from? How many people does he know? How many people is he in contact with? And you see him working with the prince today. You see him working with Trump today. You see him working with Bill Clinton today. So there's a lot of mystery around it. If I was to bet, I would say it's most likely with the UK or Russia, because with the UK is clear. He was friends with, what was that prince's name?
Prince Andrew.
Andrew, yes. Who I don't know how, but suddenly forgot that he took a picture with that girl. But that's besides the point. So
that interview he did rather brought people's attention to him. That was too bad.
That interview was so ridiculous. You are in the picture with the girl. You are right there. There's no way you've forgotten it, and you can boldly say on air that, oh, you've seen the picture. They asked him, like, have you seen the picture? And he's like, oh yeah, he's seen the picture, but he has no recollection of it. And I'm like, what?
Nobody will ever believe that.
Yeah, but that's the thing. When you're in a place of power, you are very entitled, and you know that even you can see the most ridiculous and clearly outrageous things, but you still go scot-free. And that's how it is. If a case came today and I was involved, me, Jeffrey Wellington, I was involved, and maybe there was a picture, there's nowhere I would say, oh, I don't remember it happening, and I'll go scot-free. Nowhere, because I don't have any power. No one knows me. No one knows where I'm from. I'm not rich. So I'll be thrown into jail or whatever punishments, for that particular crime. But the evidence is right there. The girl in question has said openly that he sexually abused her, and they think they did stuff that evening. And he's still, very brave enough to say, "Oh, nothing happened," and I have no recollection of being with Charlie.
Well,
Is the power?
frankly, I think he's confident because his mother is the queen.
Yes, and that's where the power thing comes from. I mean, your mother is the queen, so who can touch you?
But then, where does the conversation shift from him being this, from him doing this, from him meeting with the presidents, and where does it shift to where the women actually suffer? And where do you think what do you think mainstream media and all these other podcasts, everybody has to do to focus on the healing of the woman and to make sure that no woman ever has to go through this again. No young girl.
I think, apart from Epstein, I think a lot of people are into this particular, type of thing, and bringing Epstein out is a way of showing that we have the power to also come for you and bring you out. And at some point, these girls are going to get justice, and they're going to get the justice that they deserve, actually. So, in as much as there are lots of conspiracy theories about who he was working with, the baseline is he was a sexual predator, and he was a pedophile, really. So we need to get justice for these girls, because there's the web of girls that were under his entire scheme were more than 100. Or
I think more than 100. And it doesn't even include those who they weren't able to track down.
Yes, they don't even know the actual number. So yeah, that's the main thing. You can never prove all the conspiracy theories, but you can prove that he was a pedophile and he was doing all these things to these girls, because the girls are there, and then they are witnesses to everything. All of these conspiracy theories, and he was working with who, and all of they're all things that you won't actually get the concrete evidence, but the actual thing that people are focusing on, and I think is good that people are focusing on, is the fact that he did these things to these girls. And now that we know some of the girls and they've come out to speak, we might know more. I just don't know how Ghislaine Maxwell has, found a way to be free of all of this, but she also needs to come and get her share.
I think apparently she's still covered under the immunity agreement.
Yeah.
But then here's the thing is, most of these girls had parents at home, even though most of them came from broken homes. So where we talk about, where does the role of government step in, to look into little children? It's not just only little girls and little boys. Where does the government step in to say that you've been abandoned by your parents, and we are going to take care of you to stop you from being taken advantage of by predators in society? Predators to whom some are so smart that it takes a lot to get them.
There's only so much that the government can do, to be honest, because at the end of the day, once there's a predator in the society, they are going to come for these girls. That's just the sad part. I think that's why when we talk about things like rape, we say that you can't victim blame, because the fact is, people keep talking about how girls should dress, all that. All of that is trash. The fact is, rapists are the problem. So with this this particular case, the girl might come from a good home and won't necessarily need to, get money from Epstein and all of these things. But the second she falls into the wrong circles that introduce her to this, he's straight on her, and all of this starts happening again. So the government can try. I mean, there are things in place where if you're from a broken home, you can. I think they have homes for children like that and all of those things. But at the end of the day, once there are people in power who have these perverted, fantasies and tendencies, this thing will keep happening until we make a proper example of one of them.
I think that's what we miss using Jeffrey Epstein. I think that's where he escaped.
Yes, yes. Because I think Epstein was supposed to be the example, but he managed to escape that. So
Jeff Epstein is one crazy character, and I think when it comes to Jeff Epstein, once again, the biggest mystery is how did a guy ever make his money?
no one knows.
No one knows. No one ever knows. But when you track it, I think they only track. I was it. They found out he made a few millions just trading, and then they found out he made a few millions being the financial manager of somebody. But still, nobody knows where the rest of the money actually came from.
Yeah, no one really knows. He just starts out as a very brilliant student who drops out of school, goes to teach, finds himself in Wall Street, and all of a sudden, poof, he has houses in the biggest cities you can think of, has private jets, and no one actually knows. It's like we know the beginning and we know the end, but no one knows the middle point
No,
of
but
his entire story.
I think that's one thing. I think the Jeffrey Epstein case will still continue to be uh, a type of mystery. I don't. Do you think it's something that one day we might ever solve, or what do you think?
Well, the world has a habit of kind of forgetting about things after a period of time. So it might be an issue for a while, but then at some point, everyone's just like, we have to move on. And I think that is what will make the case unsolvable. Because if you dig deep enough and you are dedicated to solving it, you will solve it. But at some point, everyone just wants to move on. And, after all, right now, the news is he's dead. So, what else? If they're able to get compensation to all these girls, that will probably be the end. So, it might not be solved, but then the reason it's not solved isn't because it's unsolvable. It's because at some point everyone is just going to move on. To change what is happening. But most of the time, what Americans do is that they just go on the protest and then that's it. Even with this George Floyd incident, I don't know if you've realized, but on Twitter, it's like it's dying down. You don't really see as many hashtags anymore. You don't really see a lot of people talking about it like maybe last week. And that's the problem. You protest and protest and protest, and then that is it. The protest is just like the step one. The protest is to just let people hear you. After that, you need to put proper solutions in place so that things can change. And I feel like that is what they should do next. He spoke a lot in that video. I've forgotten most of the things that he was saying. But I feel like if you just leave everything at the protest, you won't go anywhere. Because as for protest, who can protest? In France, they protest for everything. In the UK, they just get up and protest. But then the point is, if you're just protesting and nothing happens after the protest, you realize in the next month another one dies. And that's what has happened, because when Tamir Rice died, I think there was a protest. When I think when Michael Brown died, there was a protest. When all of those people, there were protests. But we've seen the incident happen again with George Floyd. So it gives you the idea of the fact that it's not just the protest that you need to do to solve the issue. Things have to be done after you're done protesting.
All right, but then I want to show you this interesting video that Donald Trump retweeted. I think of Candace Owens.
Sorry?
You know of Candace Owens?
Yes.
Candace Owens basically trashing George Floyd and saying George Floyd shouldn't be held as a hero for bringing more light onto the issues that are facing black
communities. She's very pro-Trump. Candace is very, very pro-Trump. I mean, you can see it in all her videos.
But then what I find most funny is that before Trump became president, she used to tease him a lot.
Yes, that's the ironic thing. She was criticizing him a lot. she was very critical of Trump, but I don't know how, and I don't know when, but all of a sudden she was now pro-Trump, and she criticizes the Black Lives Matter movement and all of that. It's very confusing. I don't know how that changed.
But the funny thing about Trump's cabinet is that almost everybody in the White House has criticized him and insulted him at some point. They don't share the views with him, and I think you also think that is also in part in why his presidency has not been successful as it should have been.
As in, because of the people he's with.
Yes, he's basically entered into the presidency with Republicans who don't like him, but have to pretend to like him for the sake of the country. And then he goes.
Yeah, well, it might be, but I just feel like at the end of the day, it's just because it is Trump. Because Obama, not everyone liked Obama. Not everyone liked Bush, but you can say the tenure of office was much better than Trump's. Not in terms of the economy and all of those things, but then just the presidency itself. And I just think it just boils down to the fact that Trump is Trump. He's a very irrational, unpredictable, narcissistic person. So you can't really control that type of person. There's always going to be outbursts. There's always going to be very weird things being said. I mean, look at the things that he tweets. You can't really control that. That's just his phone in his hand, and he's talking every single time. So I just think it's who he is. It's not really the people who are with him in the White House, if they used to hate him or not. I think if you used to hate someone and the person is now the president of the United States of America, you owe an allegiance to him, despite your previous grievances towards him. So
let's have a look at the Candace Owens video.
Mm-hmm.
First off, I have to ask you: do you think she really believes this, or she's doing this for another purpose, something else, money or something?
Well, I don't think there's any way we can know, to be honest. I'd like to think when someone says something as public and as open as she has, you at least mean it. But there might always be something else behind it. I'm not very sure.
Very insightful. So what do you think of this segment that she just said here, talking about us only protesting in defense of criminals?
To be honest, how am I allowed to use swear words?
You can. I think this is supposed to be a free viewpoint. Speak what
It's absolute bullshit. It's absolute total bullshit, because first of all, what I think, if I remember correctly, what the police were even going to George Floyd for was I think a forged document or something, and it wasn't even anything of real significance. But that aside, there's no reason why your neck should be on your knee should be on someone's neck for 80 minutes. There's no reason, whatever the person's history. If you're arresting him, arrest him. Do you understand?
Yeah,
for whatever he did, if you're arresting him, just arrest him, take him in, and then whatever happens, happens. But then there's no reason for you to stay there and put your knee on his neck for 8+ minutes. I mean, you are hearing him tell you he can't breathe. And I mean, I still don't understand the video, to be honest, because it just shows you how entitled some of these white policemen are. Because if you're being videoed, that alone should tell you to stop. I mean, it should occur to you that, oh wait, I'm being videoed. Maybe someone can see the video and I can get into trouble. Let me stop. But no, they are very entitled in the fact that they know that normally, even after there's evidence, they will still go free. And that's the problem. So for you to come and talk about how he's a criminal, no, that shouldn't be the focus. The focus should be how he was treated. Because at the end of the day, no one deserves to be. I mean, he was down. There were 3 other policemen behind him who were holding him down, preventing him from moving. There was no way he would have moved. There was absolutely no way. So there was no need for your knee to be on his neck as long as it did. So it's not like I don't think anyone has come out to say George Floyd was some angel or he was some model citizen or he was a saint. No, it's just the manner in which he died was ridiculous. There's no reason why that should happen. And that's why people are annoyed. So it's very insensitive for you to come and try and paint a picture of, oh, but he was a criminal, so why are we protesting like he was some good guy, blah blah blah. No one deserves to die that way. And much less for what he did, which was I think he forged a letter or something. It doesn't make sense. What she said was just absolute bullshit. I think because of how stupid it is, that's why I might agree with what you were saying, that maybe she doesn't actually believe what she's saying. She's just been paid to say it, to paint that narrative. But I don't find anything she was saying sensible, because how can you not support this movement, especially when you're also black? You understand my point?
I mean, there's a whole portion of, I think, people who call themselves black conservatives who actually believe that George Floyd's murder was planned in another in a deep state order to take down Donald Trump. And
so basically, they plan to kill him
so that the country can riot. And then it's a deep state plan to take down Donald Trump by George Soros. And once you enter into the black conservative universe or side of Twitter, it's going to be very shocking for you. And I don't think you're going to come out the scene.
Well, there are many ways to take down Trump. I don't think this is the way they'll choose, to be honest.
But then before we continue this video, did you hear about the reports of white supremacists threatening to invade a town in Alabama, and then still it has not made mainstream news media?
No, I actually haven't.
I think it's
When did that happen? Was it recent, like
Yeah,
a few days ago?
it's been trending on Twitter that white supremacists threatened
Oh,
to
wow.
take him down.
Well, I'm not surprised it's not in the news because, I mean,
But then what's surprising is that this is something you have you have you have people, you have like people, left-wing people who are supposed to be leaders of the black community, who are always on
mhm.
mainstream news media, and none of them have brought this to light. I think there's a no
Let me see.
there's
Right-wing
a
vigilantes unarmed patrol after fake rumors of anti. Wow.
and I think this was it was trending on Twitter. And but then what do you think about that? If that is truly happening,
Well, I don't know. I don't think they'll be dumb enough to do it right now because of all the times you could do something as stupid as that. This would be the worst time to do it. So I hope they don't, and I just hope more news comes from the whole situation so that people know. In general, I don't even trust most of the news outlets anymore because I feel like the news they put out is to paint a certain narrative. They don't tell the whole story. And it's funny how most of the news I get these days is from Twitter because that's where you see everything being raw and in its true form. You see both sides of the story. On the news, you just see one side of the story. You don't really see every single part of what's going on. So I'm not surprised I haven't heard this yet, but I just hope it doesn't happen because it makes no sense.
okay, I think there's a tweet here which addresses this. Says
Where is it?
um
Am I surprised these Trump-loving shitheads are offended by the BLM movement? No, this town is full of white supremacists, but seriously, after everything that happened in November, you're going to threaten to shoot protesters. Yeah, I don't see why you'd even want to do this now. I don't see why you'd even want to do this ever to begin with. And now of all times, well, white supremacists in general are dumb, so
I think if you continue on Candace Owens' video.
White Americans, not a single white American is out there defending their children. They will dispose of people that they think are part of their society and uplift people that are on top of their society, which means that they're raising their average very easily. When you rally behind the people that are doing the good things in your society as opposed to doing bad things in society, you raise your average. So we've collectively lowered our average because over the last 5 years, it has become extremely fashionable for us to martyr criminals. Not even Latinos do this. They will not martyr their criminals. They do not put the names of their criminals on shirts. They don't fight pictures of their criminals. They don't let celebrities speak out about their criminals, defense their criminals. They just say, you are a criminal, goodbye. Right? That is people that are on the top of our communities. Bye-bye, Condoleezza Rice, you're cool. Bye-bye, Barry Elder, you're cool. Bye-bye, Shelby Steele, Thomas So, cool. Uncle Tom's long gone. Bye. Hate you. Here we are, George Floyd. You are a martyr and a hero. Now, when I first saw this circulating, everybody wanted to jump on and make him out to the modern day Martin Luther King. He was just getting his life together. He's out there doing good things, just making music. Based on the video I saw and the 911 transcript, that just didn't sound accurate to me. And I wanted to let everybody can because it was fashionable, it was trending. I mean, first and foremost.
And I think this part of the video is what set people off.
as in this very part.
This very part where she said that why are they trying to make him into a Hebrew, into a martyr, trying to say that he's something like Martin Luther King. And I think this is what sets people off.
Yeah, and I understand why people are pissed off, because no one is making him look like a martyr. I don't think anyone has come out to say George Floyd was, a saint. We're just saying that his life mattered. Period. That's basically what we're saying. His life mattered, and his life mattered enough to not be squandered away like how it was. And just respect Black lives. I think that's what everyone is saying, and that's why people get very annoyed when you come and say all lives matter, because yeah, we know all lives matter, but we're talking about people who are continuously killed for no reason. So it's very dumb. From why are you coming to say that we're trying to paint George Floyd as a saint? Or we know he's not a saint. We all of them, who is a saint in general? No one is. But no one deserves to die that way. Would she like it if someone put his knee on her neck for 8 minutes? No. So I feel like she's been paid. She's been paid to say all of this, to be honest.
But then when it comes to the all lives matter, I want us to listen to what Floyd Mayweather had to say on the all lives matter issue.
Was it something good? Did he say something good?
I think you have to be the judgment of that. Okay, you see the first search result, Donkey of the Day from the Big Fast Club. But then let's listen to what he had to say.
So I'm here to say all lives matter. You know, a lot of times we get stuck. We get stuck, and we're followers. Says, oh, Black lives matters or blue lives matters. All lives matter. And what I've learned from boxing, what everyone can take in real life, is follow directions, follow order. Don't give nobody no hard time, because my thing is this: with everybody that's watching this interview or that's listening, because this interview will be played long when I'm gone. When someone breaking your house, someone breaking your car, the first thing we do is we call the police. You know, with me being a fighter and my hands being registered, if I hit a guy for breaking in my house or breaking in my car, it's gonna cost me more money. So I got to work smart, not hard. I'm gonna call the cops. So, and it's not right what's going on within this world on both sides. I think we need to communicate better, and I think we need to follow direction. It's rules and regulations to everything. I'm Floyd Mayweather, so, you know, we need to try to get the starting job. You know, stand up and get the starting job. That's what he need to focus on. But you can't knock him. That's what he believed in.
Okay, so now you've heard what he had to say about Colin Kaepernick, and then you heard what he had to say about the all lives matter.
I feel like when people want to talk about all lives matter, they think they're coming from a very objective standpoint, that every life matters, so we need to talk about every life. And no, if you say that way, you're not being objective. Being objective is being able to realize that there's a certain group of people who have been oppressed for so long, and it is repetitive, and it has been going on for years. You need to be able to see that, and you need to be able to understand why we are trying to let people know that their lives matter. It's as simple as that. Everyone knows all lives matters. No one has come to say, oh, let's go kill Indians, or let's go kill, I don't know, whites, or let's go. No, but there's a group that has clearly been suffering, and it's very ridiculous to me when I see blacks also saying all lives matter right now, because you are part of the race that is suffering. Why are you why are you even saying all lives matter? You should be championing the whole Black Lives Matter movement, because at the end of the day, these whites are going to walk around with their white privilege and nothing is going to happen to them. You're the one who gets shot for looking black. Simple. That's it. So I even said looking black, for being black, actually. So it makes no sense to me why they come out and they say all lives matter, and they think I think they're trying to be inclusive, and they're trying to just, sit on the fence and be like, oh yeah, but every life matters. So no, it makes no sense. He truly is a donkey of the day.
But then you saw what Terry Crews tweeted out about black supremacy.
Yes, I think I read that one today. Something about about blacks also becoming the supremacist or something. Something of that sort. I've forgotten.
Black people also becoming black supremacists.
Yes, I remember now. That's what you were saying. I saw it. These celebrities, I'm even tired.
They say was defeating white supremacy without white people creates black supremacy. Equality is the truth. Like it or not, we are all in this together.
Another piece of bullshit. I feel like these people just want to say something. If you're not going to say something that's supporting the movement, just keep quiet. You have money, just donate your money. I think that's a much better thing to do. If you know that whatever you say, or if you are going to say anything contrary to what we are talking about, just give money out. It's really simple. If I was a celebrity, right, and I had maybe $50 million, and I don't even need to say anything, you can just start donating money to all the people who have been arrested during the protest so that you can bail them out. You can start giving money to maybe any black-owned business that has been affected by the rioting so that they get back up on their feet. You can start giving money to the people who got hurt so that they can pay their medical bills. Things like that. Try and provide gear for all those who are protesting, the nose masks and all of it. Fine. That makes sense. That's a much better way of taking a stand, because you're actually doing something and trying to support. Or you can just not say anything and just join the protest. It's really that simple. You get it? I don't understand why they feel the need to say all of these things, because as a celebrity, the kind of attention you get, you can just join the protest and everyone sees you and everyone sees how important this is. When J. Cole joined the protest, you see how it was a buzz on Twitter and the whole thing was trending, because it's like, yeah, J. Cole, who is rich and obviously doesn't really need to come and join the protest because he's now, rich and living in his own mansion. He's still coming down to come and work with the people and join the. I don't think you've seen. Have you seen J. Cole talk about what's happening?
He never talked.
No, if he has, I haven't seen it. He just went down and walked with the people and protested with them. It's as simple as that. You can do that and just go home. Simple. But these celebrities feel the need to talk and say something and give a think piece of, bro. And when they do, they rarely say something sensible. It's always something stupid like, oh, all lives matter, or oh, if we don't fight with the whites to defeat white supremacy, we'll end up becoming black supremacy. No, come on.
But I think when it's all said and done, when we are looking all back to this, what do you think is the best reflection we'll have to look back upon this moment and see?
The best reflection, how? As in, like, the best thing that happened from
what
this.
Do you think the best thing that ever happened out of George Floyd's death and the protests, which have lasted for about 2 weeks now?
I think the best thing really would be the fact that the world has seen what is happening. That really is the best thing, because, with most of the deaths, we don't really have, a video to show how bad and how serious it is. We just hear about it. Like, what's this guy? Diallo, I think that's his name. Diallo's death, for example, we just heard about, he got shot a number of times, and we just heard, that's what happens. You just hear it, that, this person died because of this and this person died because of this. But I think George Floyd's incident, it painted a very clear picture. You can see the video, you can see what is happening, you can understand why it makes no sense for it to happen. And I feel like that was enough to spark at least the discussion, and then, you know, on a larger scale, the protests and the rioting, so that everyone in the world really sees what is happening. And aside, you know, the US, and I think all the states in the US ended up going on protests. Aside the US, I think the UK went on protest. I think Italy did, which is very surprising because Italy is also very racist. I think which country? I saw a lot of countries. I think Australia.
We have Australia, Sweden.
Yeah, Australia,
We
Sweden,
have
France.
Sweden.
France always go. If France is always down, they're always ready to go and riot. If you just say the word. I mean, if you look at the entire history, the number of riots they've been on. But then yes, so
I think Canada too was also protesting their own police there.
Yeah,
Police.
a lot of countries have this problem. It's just very serious in the US, but a lot of countries have this problem. A lot of countries have it. The UK has it. Even in Africa, we have this problem. So police brutality in itself is a problem that a lot of countries are facing. And, you know, most of the time, it takes one domino to start falling so that everyone also follows suit. So I think that's the only positive I can see from all of this, that it made everyone start talking about it. I mean, I don't remember the last time I saw a lot of companies having to speak on an issue like this. Most of the time they're just quiet. But I was playing Call of Duty and I open my game and I see a whole text on, you know, Call of Duty talking about how they stand with the Black Lives Matter movement. And, you know, I mean, it's making more attention come to it, and people need to understand what's happening.
But when it comes to companies speaking out, you have companies like Target, you have companies like Bank of America, you have all of them coming out to speak, and then yet you have cases of maybe Bank America, you know, giving different interest rates, maybe an 8.2 interest rate to on a loan to a Black American, and then giving a 2% interest rate to a white American. And then you think, so there's now the question where you say, do these companies truly care, or now that they've recognized that when you don't care, consequences follow?
Oh yeah, most of the companies don't actually care. I'm not very sure on the interest rates and all of that, but I know for a fact that a lot of companies are actually racist. But, you know, in this day and age, you need to take a stand, and when you do not, there's a problem. Even with, for example, someone like Kendrick Lamar, who has done most of his music is about, you know, basically about black lives in America and how they are oppressed and all of that. But people were even angry that he hadn't come out to say anything. And I think that's how it is in America right now. You need to take a stand. And most of these companies are just saying and doing these things just to, I don't know if you've realized, but when a company that is racist or has done something, you know, racist in the past, when they come and post some of these things on Twitter and you check the quoted tweets, you can see a lot of people coming to talk about the things that they've done in the past. So it gives you a clear indication that most of these companies are really just trying to save face. I mean, it's a time where if Apple has done it and Samsung has done it, there's no reason why I don't know, maybe what other phone brand is there? Maybe Pixel. You understand? If Google is doing it, if everyone else is doing it, there's no reason why you shouldn't do it. So, and when you don't do it now, everyone looks at you like, okay, wow. So the whole world was having the Black Lives Matter movement, and so and so company didn't do anything. So I think that's why most of them are coming out. Some of them actually support the Black Lives Matter movement. Some of them actually support it. Some of them have done.
The only company I think actually supports the Black Lives movement is Apple, for sure. That's the only company I think actually supports Black Lives Matter.
Yeah. I've forgotten the company's name. I think it's an ice cream company, but they also really, really support. They are very inclusive in general. They supported the LGBTQ movement. They've supported the Black Lives Matter movement. So I think some companies actually support, but some are just, you know, it's just like we have to issue a statement to show that we care, so that these people will shut up. Basically, that's how I see most of it.
But then, do you think Black people in general are easily impressed just by PR stunts? because you have so many people who acted racist in the past come out to give statements, and then you see black people standing there and all that and all sorts of things. So then it comes to the question:
I think in the past they were easily impressed, but right now most of them have seen it happen so many times. You are not going to be impressed by all of this. In the past, it was easy. I mean, in the past, you couldn't get anyone to say anything. So it was almost like when any company does the bare minimum, then it's like, woo, we got someone to speak on our movement. You get it? It was like no one was saying anything. So if you get someone like Apple to come out and say, we support Black lives, blah, 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 then it's a really big deal. But right now, lots of companies are doing it. There's quite some buzz around the whole movement. So they're not just going to be just happy with you coming out to say we support Black lives. And really, if you think about it, if you're in a position of power to change things and to make things happen, it's not enough to just come out and say we support Black lives. Because yeah, you support Black lives, but what have you done to support Black lives? It's not enough to just say it. You have to actually do something so that people can see and people can know that you are supporting Black lives and the Black Lives Movement. It's not enough to just tweet about it or talk about it. If for someone like me, you know, I'm in no position of power, so the best I can do is to talk about it and tweet about it and, you know, sign petitions and things like that. But that's what I can do. But if you're someone who's in the position to do much more, and all you do is to come out and say, oh, I support Black lives and we stand with all the Black people, all our Black customers, we want you to know that your life matters. And no, I mean, that's not enough. Do something so that the people know that you are for them.
But then today, on a rising issue which is coming our way, we saw members of the United States Congress engage in what I think was a kind of PR stand. I think yes.
When they went to kneel down,
when they
were wearing the kente, what do you call it? I think it's a sash. They knelt down for I think 9 minutes. Yes, it's on now.
I mean, even if you watch Nancy Pelosi, you know she couldn't stand up after the 9 minutes.
Yeah,
but it's all sad because these people were in power for 8 years. When the Ferguson and Baltimore riots happened, these people were in power for 8 years.
Yeah,
and yet they got nothing done.
That's what I was saying. That in its entirety, it's quite sad that it is this George Floyd incident that has made all of these people come out. Because this isn't the first time this has happened. If this was the first time, I think everyone will actually be happy, you know, about what's happening right now, about how every country is protesting and people are coming out to talk about it. If it was the first time, everyone would be happy because it's like, oh wow, it happened just once and now everyone is talking about it. But this isn't the first time. There are so many. I don't even know the number. I know there's so many. And even this year, George Floyd isn't the only person who has died out of police brutality and racial profiling. He's not the only one. So it's absurd when all of these people come out and come and do all of these things because right now it's a trending topic and right now you have to do something. And this isn't enough. I mean, who cares if you are kneeling down, and who cares? No one gives a shit if you are going to kneel down for 9 minutes in, I don't know, memory of George Floyd.
But then you know what I find most funny about all of this?
Mm-hmm.
You have the House Democrat side. You have the Democrats who are supposed to be the party of the minorities, and then you have the Republican side, and you have Trump, who we all view as a racist. To be honest, it took me a long time for me to view him as racist.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have him and the vice president and the House Republicans rather looking towards reform police, and then you have them rather looking at ways towards eradicate police brutality. And then there's a little bit of, I don't know the word to use for it, there's a little bit of wonder there that who is actually interested in a Black individual.
The Black individual himself. if you think about it,
Perfect
because
answer.
all of these people don't really. I feel like they don't really care, and that is why every black in the United States needs to, also this is why I don't understand when blacks come and say all lives matter and all of that, because if you are not going to look out for your people, who will? And as we've seen all these years, really no one else will look out for your people if you are not doing it. So the onus lies on you to look out for your people and to champion the movement and to move forward with this. But if you are going to come out and say all lives matter and all of that, it makes no sense. So as for this whole, I don't know if it's a PR stunt or is it, I don't know what the aim actually is. I don't know who told them that this was going to look good.
Honestly, I think when they saw that Republicans were doing more than they were doing, I think they decided that they needed to do something quickly.
Bro,
It's sad. It's very, very sad. And then I think it's getting. I think we are past an hour. Yes, and I would like to thank you for coming on. I think
we didn't even talk much on Jeffrey Epstein.
Let us discuss more on Jeffrey Epstein, because I think when we're talking about Jeffrey Epstein, I think I pressed record, but then it wasn't recording. But then I'd like to play you on this Joe Rogan and Alex Jones talk about Jeffrey Epstein. I mean, Jeffrey Epstein, okay, I think this is